Day 3 of the marathon, coming back with 90K in chips, 240 people remain, we're already in the money. I am about 160th, got 30 big blinds, a little bit of room to maneuver, not a ton, I don't need to open shove or anything like that though. Yeah, feel like there's not too much pressure today. I'm gonna be gambling, I'm gonna be making some moves. It may or may not work out, but there's no big pay jumps for like the next 150 places. So yeah, it's gonna take some risks. Hopefully they'll work out, but if they don't, not the end of the world. I do have a secret weapon in my arsenal though. Gotta bring out all the stops. That's why I'm gonna be wearing my day 3 shoes, PF Flyers, guaranteed to make you run better and hit all boards. There aren't too many better feelings than walking into the Rio knowing you've already made the money in a major tournament. I'm in the bottom half of the field in terms of chip count, but my dreams of making the final table are still alive. I head into the Amazon room and unbag 92,000. My table has a few larger stacks, some slightly smaller ones, and 2 tiny stacks from people who barely squeaked their way into the money the night before. We begin level 13. There are 246 players left. If we get knocked out now, we'll get 3,930. We don't want that though. Blinds are 1,500, 3,000 with 500 antes. We're gonna need some luck if we're gonna make it deep in this. The very first hand of the day, we look down and see pocket aces, and the middle position player open shoves with a massive stack of 4,500, which is just over 1 big blind. I call. The player turns over pocket queens, the flop comes jack 5-3, the turn is a 6, and the river is an 8. We begin the day on the right side of a massive cooler. It's unfortunate that he didn't have more chips, but we'll take all the ones we can get at this point. Now if you weren't impressed by those aces, don't worry, we get them again about 20 minutes later. In this hand we're in the small blind, under the gun +1 opens a 7,000, and the hijack shoves for just over 50,000. Folds to me. I reshove, hoping the under the gun +1 player has a big hand. He ends up folding, so we're heads up, and the hijack turns over pocket 8s. The opponent is at risk for his tournament life. We need to fade an 8. The dealer puts out the flop, and it's ace-10-10. We flop a boat. There's no drama in this one. The player doesn't river quads, and he leaves the table in tears. We're doing great though. We have a healthy stack of over 170,000. Several hands later, we're dealt ace-5 of diamonds in the small blind. The hijack opens to 6,500. I make the call. We're heads up. The flop comes queen 7-6 rainbow with 1 diamond. We have an overcard with backdoor straight and flush possibilities. I check. The hijack bets 7,000. There's a reasonable bet size. I call to see what the turn will bring, and it's the jack of diamonds. So we pick up the flush draw. I check. The player bets 15,500. Contemplate raising here. I'd play pocket 7s, pocket 6s, queen jack, or 7-6 the exact same way. Ultimately, I just call, and the river is the deuce of diamonds, so we make the nuts. Couldn't have picked out a better card to see. So rare that I'm going to have anything better than 1 pair here, given my line and the run out. I check, thinking it's a good opportunity for the hijack to bluff at it, or possibly go for a value bet if he has a real hand, like a set, 2 pair, or an overpair. He is the pre-flop aggressor, and he's already fired on 2 streets. I'm hoping he'll empty the clip. Will he do it? No, he doesn't. He checks back. We sheepishly turn over the nuts, but we do drag in another fairly large pot. We're up to 200,000 on the day, and the action in level 13 is not over. Here we're dealt pocket queens on the button. The hijack opens to 7,000. The cutoff with a huge stack makes the call. I 3-bet to 27,000. The hijack folds, but the cutoff comes along. We're in position with a premium hand and a 3-bet pot, and the flop comes queen 7-4 with 2 hearts. What a dream. We flop top set. The cutoff checks. I down bet to 23,000. The cutoff now raises to 60,000. This is the best. Now the question becomes whether to call or shove. I'll only have 112,000 in my stack after a call. If the opponent is bluffing, he might shove the turn no matter what, but there's a good chance he gives up as well, knowing that there are very few hands I call a check raise with and fold to 112k turn bet when the pot would be over 300,000. I'm so excited to have top set in this already massive pot and don't want to give my opponent an opportunity to make a flush without charging him extra for it. I shove, thinking my opponent's going to call with plenty of hands since he's now the one getting almost 3-1. He tanks for literally 4 minutes before letting it go. Probably had absolutely nothing based on how long he took and the fact that I'd seen him make some massive bluffs in some other hands. I wish I could have this one back because I certainly shouldn't have re-raised given who my opponent was and the stack sizes. It's the biggest mistake I made all tournament. At least I've clearly learned from this not to re-raise when I flop the nuts and I'm facing a check raise.
And a check raise from Johnny. We have a flush over flush situation with 2 vloggers. And a 3-bet on the flop, which you don't see very often. And look at this, Johnny Moreno with a great fold.
Maybe I haven't learned anything at all. My stack is up to 300,000 though. I can't help but feel like there should be another 112K in there. Still, I'm very, very happy with how the day has gone so far. This is going way better than I thought it would. I was thinking that I'd probably just bust right away, but now I've got a big stack, probably top 30 in chips or something. Running really good with the shoes my brother got me, PF Flyers. So, hoping it'll be a long day and a long vlog. A quarter of the field was knocked out in the previous level. We've already made 3 pay jumps. Anyone knocked out now will make $4,435, but we're in great position to make a deep run, and we have our eyes set on the grand prize of $653,000. Fortunately, this level doesn't go nearly as well as the one before. First big hand, pick up pocket 8s on the button, open to 9K, and big blind defense. Actually, the big blind 3-bets. Big blind 3-bets to 29K. I make the call. Flop comes 4-4-3, 2 spades, 1 club. Big blind bets 45K. I call. The turn is a king of diamonds. Big blind checks. I check back, and the river is 7 of diamonds. This time, the big blind fires out for 55K. I call. Big blind turns over pocket 10s, so it's got me notched by 2. I lose a big one there, and then pick up ace queen offsuit in middle position under the gun +1. He's been playing really, really tight, has kind of a medium-sized stack. Opens to 9K. I consider 3-betting. Stack sizes are a little bit weird, and since this guy's playing tight and opening from early position, I just go with the call. Big blind calls as well, so we go 3 ways to the flop. Flop comes king, queen, 9 with the king and queen of clubs, and it checks around. The turn is the deuce of clubs, big blind checks, and now the under the gun +1 player bets 10K. Can't fold for that amount. I call. Big blind calls as well. The river is another king. It's kind of a good card for us. Doesn't seem like anyone should really have a king in that spot except for maybe the big blind. And the big blind checks, under the gun +1, bets 40K. Don't really like it, but I make the call. Big blind folds, and under the gun +1 has ace jack of clubs, so he turned the nut flush draw, or sorry, turned the nut flush, and wins a big pot for me. So those hands, I think they're kind of standard. Maybe 3-betting with ace queen would have been better, but I wasn't quite sure what to do there. And then, so now I'm really short. I had 65K after that hand, and my stack dwindled down to 50K. Folds to me on the button. There's 10K, a little over 10K in the middle already with the antes and blinds. I just rip it in with 9-6 offsuit. Before you think I'm insane for shoving with 9-6 offsuit, you have to realize that I have 12.5 big blinds. There are no pay jumps for a long time. I'm losing over 10,000 in chips every orbit, and I need to get folds from only 2 people to increase my stack by 20%. I end up getting called by the big blind. He has ace-10 offsuit. Not too bad of a situation. I have 2 live cards. The flop comes king 9-4 rainbow. The turn gives us 2 pair, and the opponent is drawing dead. The river doesn't matter. We get the double up, and everyone at the table, aside from the big blind, is happy that the player who's shoving 9-6 offsuit is still in their game. Going into level 15, we have 104,000. Blinds are 2,500 and 5,000. We have just over 20 big blinds, and we're gonna have to make a move soon. Late in the level, with our stack now at 75,000, we're dealt pocket eights in middle position. We open shove. The cutoff, who doubled us up in the 9-6 offsuit hand, makes the call. We're heads up. He says,
"Good luck to you again."
Thank you, man.
the dealer puts out 9 deuce deuce. I really hate these situations when I have to fade 2 overcards. The turn is a jack, and the river is a 6. I get another double up. I have 160K. I can breathe a little easier, but still only have 32 big blinds. Weird level. Got the double up with pocket eights, and then I play this one hand where I open with ace-8 of spades and the hijack, and the button makes the call. He's the big stack. He's the one that doubled me up with the 9-6 and the pocket eights. Flop comes king 4 deuce rainbow, no spade. We both check. Turn is a 3. We both check. River is the 8 of clubs, and I bet 15K. And the button makes the call, and ace-8 is good, so we win that one. We play a weird one where I pocket kings under the gun, open to 11.5 thousand, and the button calls. He's got a pretty big stack. He's been doing well, chipped up a lot. We're heads up, and the flop comes 2, 4, 6 rainbow. It's not a board that's going to connect well with my opening range from under the gun, so I check. The button fires for 15K. I call. Turn is the ace of diamonds, 2 diamonds out there now. I check, and the button bets 22,000. So this is kind of weird. I'm going to check call with a lot of ace highs on the flop, so I don't think he would necessarily bluff turn. But anyway, I fold. I think that's a bad play. I just don't really like how I played that. Then pick up queen jack offsuit in the big blind. That same player opens to 11.5K. Small blind calls. I call. The flop comes all low cards. Comes like 5-4 deuce with 2 spades. Checks around. Turn is the queen of spades, so I make top pair. Small blind checks, I bet 15. Button calls, and small blind calls as well. The river is the jack of spades, gives us 2 pair. Small blind checks, I check. Button bets 30K. Small blind folds, I fold, and the button shows pocket kings with the king of spades, so he made the flush on the river, but yeah, check back the flop. Then the last interesting hand that I played to pick up pocket 4s in the cutoff. The hijack opens to 12.5K. I call. I'm kind of short. I have about 120K left. Button calls as well, and I believe the small blind and the big blind both call. So we go 5 ways to the flop. The flop comes ace 5 deuce with 2 hearts. Checks to the button. He bets 25K, folds back to me. I call, just a peel one. Turn is a 6 of clubs, 2 clubs, and 2 hearts out there now. I check, button bets 30K, and I fold. And he's a friendly guy, said he had big ace, which I believe. Time to go to dinner, coming back. Got about 100K left. Dinner ends, there are 124 people left. I have a short stack, I've got to make some moves. I get dealt ace-king offsuit under the gun +1 and open shove for 90,000. Everyone folds, which I don't mind. My stack increases to 108,000. Next I'm dealt 6-2 offsuit in the big blind, folds to the small blind. He calls, I check. The flop comes 7-5-4 rainbow, small blind checks. I check back the straight draw. The turn is an 8, so we make the straight. The small blind checks. I bet 8,000. The small blind comes in with a check raise to 20,000. I call in order to keep his bluffs in. The river is another 4 pairing the board, but I don't think we have to worry too much about it. Small blind shoves. I have 60K remaining, and I make the call. Unfortunately, he turns over 9-6 offsuit for the better straight. We're knocked out in 113th place for just over 5,000. Good start to the summer. Still have 5 more events to play, including the main event. Just really happy to cash, and I came in, 160th in chips, and finished 113th. So I made some pay jumps, learned a lot of stuff, and feel a lot more prepared for the main event in a couple weeks. That's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons because it helps out the channel a ton. And if you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comment section. I'll definitely get back to you. Andrew and I have a bunch of fun things coming up. First thing is going to be September 5th. We're going to Portland Meadows to play on a recorded game with the poker guys. They have their own YouTube channel where they analyze poker hands, so we'll be collaborating with them. I'll have a link down below in the description box to their channel. We're not going to have any official meetup game in Portland, but maybe after that poker session, we can grab drinks with anybody in the area. Then September 7th, we are going to Seattle. It's a Redbirds Hideaway, so we're going to have a meetup game there. It's going to be a spread limit game. I think it's 2 to 300. That's going to be at 6 p.m. And then September 11th, Tuesday, in Austin, Texas, we are going to the Texas Card House. We're having a 5-5 game out there. That'll be a lot of fun. So I'll have links down below for information regarding those events. And then finally, on September 20th through the 24th, I'll be in Denver playing the HPT events out there. Super excited, never been to Denver or any of the HPT stops. I'll be doing that in conjunction with Spade Sunshades. I'm gonna take over the Instagram account, which I've never done before. That should be a ton of fun. Anyway, hope you guys are all doing well. Good luck at the tables, and I'll see you next time.